thank you guys for joining us on Diversity Chat, where we bridge the gaps of diversity and work together to destroy ignorance before it destroys another life. And today I have a guest with me. Guest, if you could, please introduce yourself.
Hi.
What's your name?
Hi, I'm Susan Babille. So what do you want me to say? From Africa.
That's it. That's what I can say right now. And then where are you from Susan? And where are you at right now?
Okay, so I'm from Uganda, East Africa.
Okay.
And I'm living in Los Angeles.
Nice. Uganda.
Yes.
And can you share with us what ethnic group you identify as?
So, I'm African. Proud to be African.
Okay. Thank you. And if you're willing to share your age, can you give us your age or age range?
36. I'm proud of my age. I'm 36.
You should be proud of your age.
Yeah.
You got wisdom. You got wisdom.
Proud of my age.
Skills and wisdom. Yes, amen. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for introducing yourself. And I'm curious if you were willing to share with us something that's a hobby or interest for you.
Amen. First and foremost, and that's why we're sisters, I love Jesus. So being in church, listening to gospel music, anything Christian. And watching TV. I love watching TV a lot. Like, for me, staying home, it's not difficult for me because, I just love sitting at home, watching TV. That makes me happy.
Yeah. Yeah. You're like a homebody.
Yeah, I am.
I'm like that too a little bit.
Yeah.
All right, cool. I love it. What are you watching on TV right now?
Oh my God, a lot. I've been binge watching Fuller House. Were you watching Full House before?
The old one?
Yeah, the old one.
Yeah, I grew up watching it. I think it came on Fridays, TGI Friday or something.
So I've been binge watching Fuller House. It's so fun. Before I go to bed, I have to watch an episode. It's so fun.
I love it.
It's so cool.
Did you watch the newer ones on Netflix? Huh?
Sorry?
Oh, did you watch the newer ones on Netflix?
Yes, I've been watching it on Netflix. Fuller House, yeah. I love it.
Oh, Fuller House, yeah. Yeah, that's cool. I watched the first episode of Fuller House, but the show Full House, I used to watch on Kid.
Oh, me.
So, that's cool, though. That's cool. Thank you for sharing that a little bit about you. But yes, I know you through church, just as an introduction to other people. I think I know you 6 years, maybe, somewhere around there.
Yes.
You think?
Yeah, I believe so.
And, yeah. And I could never thank you enough for, being so kind to host me when I was commuting between LA and Bakersfield, and I just I can't make it.
So sweet of you. Of course, it was a pleasure having you. You're one of the sweetest people I've ever met. And it was fun. It was really fun.
Oh, that's so kind of you. That's so kind of you. Yeah, your heart is super sweet and super pleasant. So I'm very grateful for our friendship. And yeah, so let me look here. I'm gonna look through my questions real quick, and then we're gonna get started.
Okay.
So nothing too complicated. But let me see. So yeah, one thing I did learn from you, osmosis, just being side by side with you, and you hosting me, to stay over when I just could not make the hour and a half drive back to Bakersfield. Is this hospitality that you carry, which is so gracious. Do you get that from your mom or something? Yes. Or it comes from somewhere?
Oh,
your mom?
It's from my mom. My mom, growing up,
yeah.
I mean, my mom hosted so many people at home. Sometimes I felt like it was too much, but she loves people. She's a people person. So yeah.
Yeah.
And I just feel like if someone needs something, like if you're able to help, why not?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love that person.
And it's really nice. I mean, if you're able to help someone, why not help them? Or have them around. It was always nice to have you around, all the conversations we had. It was.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, that's a
I miss that.
Yeah. So I brought that up too because let me turn my volume down a little bit. I get echo. But one of the reasons I mentioned that is because I know that on the surface, people might look at us and be like, "You're both Black women. Like you have the same culture, the same upbringing, everything." But it's like, no, I'm from Ohio and the USA, and you're from where in Uganda? Where? Like, what is it called? Like, where you were? Is it called a city in Uganda?
So, and I don't know if you want to get into first and foremost, people. I know I've come across so many people here in the US. They think Africa is a country. Like, it sometimes drives me crazy because Africa is a continent, and people should know that. Like, I know most people don't know like a lot of stuff about Africa unless you've read about something or you've been there. But so it's kind of crazy because if you tell someone, "Oh, I'm from Uganda," they'll be like, "Where?" I know, of course, you don't expect anyone to know it, but now I've gotten to a point where I'm like, you know what? I'll just say I'm from Africa, and if you want to know more about, what part of Africa I come from, then you can ask. Because like you come across someone and they're like, "Oh, you're from Africa. Oh, I have a friend from Nigeria." I'm like, "Oh my God. Okay.
Different country.
Nigeria is a different country."
Yeah.
I'm from the eastern part of Africa. So it's just crazy. It's so crazy. You don't know how many come across people. Whenever you mention Africa, they'll bring up someone from a different African country. And you're like, "Oh my God." And in fact, it's so funny. Like one day, I was supposed to ask someone. I was at work and someone was like, "Oh, you're from Africa. I have this friend from Nigeria." So I went like, "You know what? Okay, so where do you come from?" So it's like, New York, I think. So I'm like, "Okay, living here in LA. If I were to find you and ask you if you knew someone in New York, like, wouldn't that be weird? Because you can't know people. I mean, unless you have family or friends. You won't be like, it's too separate." And I was just using it as an example because at least New York and LA are both, states in the US. But for someone to ask me if they know someone from, unless we're friends, it was weird. But yeah, I get that a lot.
I love that. I always loved, talking to you about the country of Africa. Just kidding. How people just keep getting it wrong, and like how you're just so graciously try to like be nice and Christ-like about it.
Yes, I know, it's crazy. It's crazy, but
what do you? Go ahead.
I'm used to it.
Yeah. I know that has to be hard. The Lord is keeping you patient.
Yeah, sometimes my patience runs out because, I mean, you should know what type of questions people ask.
What?
When they realize you're from Africa.
Yeah.
"Oh, so how did you get here?" Oh, I hate that question. I really hate it because first of all, I don't know how much you've watched here on TV. Like, it's really unfortunate because the stuff they show here on TV about Africa, they don't show any good stuff. They don't show good.
Yeah.
People think that everyone from Africa is like comes from a place where people, don't even have houses. People don't eat. People, it's so weird what questions people ask. I mean, as we came here, like, it's like they think I couldn't afford an air ticket. You know, people think we live, I don't know, in trees or something.
Yeah.
And some people think we live with wild animals. Like, someone was like, oh, so do you guys actually live with, you know, like lions in your... And I'm like, really? Really?
Have you ever seen a lion in real life?
I mean, apart from going to, like, the zoo or game parks, you know, that's once in a life. But not in my neighborhood.
Right.
I don't understand that.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Oh, man. It's hard being from another country over here. We're just Americans, unless we go educate ourselves, we only know what the media shows us. We only know Hollywood produces. So I don't think I can apologize for a whole country, but if I could, I would.
You don't have to, you know. I know. You know, that happens when people are not educated or they're not informed. It's just like, you know, traveling to different countries. You can learn their culture after going there. Without that, yeah.
So tell us, what is Uganda like? Like, it's a whole country. So, like, can you break it down to, like, where you were from? What was it like where you're from?
Okay. So I'm from the central part of Uganda. So Uganda's got, like, 45 tribes. And I'm from the central part. I'm called Uganda. We're from the central one, of course. It's like, I think the population is like 47 million, 44, I think, 44 million, or something. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's in the eastern part of, you know, Africa. Mm-hmm. I mean, what else? Surrounded by water bodies. It's not, it's not a big African country. It's not really big, but people in Uganda are so hospitable. Like, and that's the difference I found. Like, when we have, like, tourists or foreigners come to Uganda, Ugandans are so happy, so glad to welcome them, you know, to show them around, which is so different here. Like, here, some people may, you know, if you want to ask, or, you know, you want to ask for directions, or you're trying to approach someone, sometimes it may not be easy. But in Uganda, people are willing to help, to show people around. They're super hospitable. And I'm not saying that because I'm from Uganda, but I've seen it, and that's what I found so difficult when I moved here. Like, people back home are so hospitable. Like, they're super sweet, super nice. And I've gotten that people that have visited Uganda. Recently, I had a friend, a colleague, that went to Uganda. Oh my God, it was the best trip ever. Because people usually do safari because of, you know, like in Uganda we have people like going to game parks or the zoo. People love that. So that's why whenever people want to go on safari, they choose to go to Uganda or Kenya or Tanzania. So yeah, but people in Uganda are so hospitable.
Mm-hmm. What's a game park?
A game park is more or less of, you know, it's like a zoo, but it's a bigger, like a game park is for wild animals. You know, it's so big, like wild animals are left to, like, you know, like walk around, unlike the zoo where, you know, they're kind of enclosed. People love that. That's why they, you know, to check out that. But yeah, this person was like, it was one of the best trips ever had. And it was his first time in Africa, so it was really nice to hear that about, you know, someone that had never been there before.
Mm-hmm. I do want to go to Africa one day, so I guess Uganda is one of the I should go.
Yeah, just let me know when, you know. it would be nice. I mean, just, whenever you decide, we can even take a trip together.
Oh, that'd be so cool. Because you actually are. So
it would be nice to have you there. I mean, just showing you around.
I would love to see where you're from. Well, being from where I'm from, even though it's still the United States of America, it is different than LA, and I know that's like the county you're in. So the Midwest where I'm from, you could ask people questions. It's like, because when I moved to LA from Columbus, Ohio, it was like, I remember being at the stoplight walking, and then I said to this little girl, "Oh, your bag is pretty," because that's just how we are back in the Midwest. Like, you just talk to strangers, like, that's 100% normal. It's not weird. And then the little girl, like, grabbed her purse a little bit closer to her. I'm like, "I don't want your bag." Like, that's just, like, we are, in that sense, hospitable and, like, just kind, more open. So it was, like, a culture shock for me going to LA, people being, like, kind of, keep to yourself. I don't want you to steal from me. But like back home, you'd be like, "Oh, hey, how do you get to da 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 da?" And it's like super normal. Wow. Like one time, one of the girls I met in LA, I actually met up with her in Columbus, and we were walking somewhere, like to the park, and then I started talking to this lady who was walking next to us, and then when we were done talking, my friend said, "Oh, did you know her?" And I was like, "No." Because it's just like, you don't have to know somebody to talk to them. But I know in LA it's different. It is a different vibe. So
I know.
So then you get to visit where I'm from too, and then you can talk to strangers, and it's very normal. Very normal.
Well, it's crazy because I'm not the kind of person that would talk to strangers. Like, I would also find it so weird for someone to just approach me and they're like, "Oh," I find it weird. I really find it weird because I'm like, okay, not that, they're going to steal from me, but I'm like, okay.
Why are you
talking to me?
Yeah.
So crazy. But yeah. I mean, still, it's so different from like New York.
Yeah. Yeah. New Yorkers, I think, like, I've been there a couple times. It's kind of like, if you're bleeding, they'll probably help you.
You think?
They're people. They're not mean people, but they are in their own space, just like LA.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one thing actually, that's the difference I found with New York and, LA. I just thought that people here are kind of, they're a bit they're friendly. And I don't know, because I remember I was I think I was going on a train. I was going to Subway, and I was with my friend. I had this big bag. My God, I was like, oh my God, no one is even willing to help me carry it. And like here, I think people here offer to help.
Yeah.
And the difference I found with New York.
I could see that.
Whatever. Carry your bag. No one cares. Yeah.
Dang.
That was.
Yeah, it is definitely different between the two, for sure. I want a little bit more. I want you to have like the opportunity to say everything, perhaps, or a lot of what you would say to people, and I mean the nice way, the nice version, like what you would say to people about your country, like, and where you're from. So is there like what was it like for you in school and stuff like that? What was your school like?
I spent most of my school time, I was in a boarding school. So for us, because I had my mom working almost, like 7 days a week. So instead of we basically have, for us, we call it, we don't have things like private school or public school. So it's either boarding school or a day school where, you drop off your kid at school and then, pick them up. But I was in a boarding school from like the age of, say 6.5 or 5.5. So, so of course that's the kind of life. And our education was different. Whereas, like in school, we're punished for getting a lower grade. You know, you have your teacher.
Wow.
So we always strive to, you know, work really hard, because if, let's say, you got like 80% and then the next time you get like, you know, 75, we had teachers like caning you. It was really tough in school, but you know, that helped us really study hard and, you know, and finish up. And the difference is that here, I don't know, I've not yet, you know, understood the education system here. I don't know if is education free? Like, I've been here for a while, but I've not bothered to. Unlike for us, you either, you know, can afford to go to school, because there's nothing like free education. You either have the money to go to school or you don't, you know. And if you don't have the money, then, you know, you won't go to school. But if you have the money, you can go to whichever school you want, you know. That's the beauty.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you have to pay. You have to pay to learn.
You have to pay to learn. Yes, there's nothing like free education. And I mean, we had, you know, I was blessed that, you know, my parents could afford education, and we went. You know, my twin sister and I went to some of the best schools. So we had kids that couldn't afford, like, in the middle of we have, you know, ours is like a term system, not the semester. So there's 3 terms in a year. So some people, like, you know, halfway, like, let's say a term, if you hadn't like finished paying your tuition, you know, they'll be asked to go back home. You know, if you don't have it, then you have to stay home until you get it to come back. So,
yeah,
you know, we didn't have things like computers, you know, until we got to the university where you had your own computer, you could afford your own computer. But like before that, like, we had to go to school, we you know, write using whiteboards and, you know, actually blackboards. So that was the kind of education we had.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Very cool. Thank you for informing us about that. Yeah, here, like, just basic education for us is free. I guess like elementary school, so like a 5-year-old, like a first grader. I don't know, I'm kids. I think your 5-year-old is a first grader. I don't know. But like first grade to high school through 12th grade, you are free education unless you went to like a specialty school, like a private school, like that, or like I don't know if a Montessori charges, but like something special, maybe you pay more. But like a school, it's free education, which I think is something, you know, to be grateful for when I hear you sharing about that. Yeah,
because, you know, you have people back home who would like to go to school, but because they can't, you know, their parents can't afford it, so they don't go. And that's the difference here. You know, here education is free, and you have people that are not willing to go to school, you know, and yet, people want to go to school, but they can't afford it, because the way you can go to school is if you can afford it, you know.
Yeah.
So
kids are still in school here for sure.
Yeah. So
it's a bit weird, because it's like, I get it if you don't want to go. I get it if you don't want to go, and I know major reasons why someone wouldn't want to go to school.
Yeah.
But maybe they like heard your story or something, they could appreciate the free education and take it in instead of for granted. So thank you for sharing that, because I think that's definitely something to know, you know, be aware of, that when you're just like born into a certain mindset or culture, you don't think about it. When you moved here, like, how old were you when you moved to the States?
I was 20. I need to count back. Just give me a second. So I moved here in 2011. If I'm 36 right now, so yeah, I was 25. I think 25.
Okay.
Something like that. Yeah, 25, 20. Yeah, 25. Of course.
What was the, like...
Sorry?
Go ahead.
Oh,
go ahead.
Sorry, I cut you off. You were asking something.
Oh, and I was just curious, what was the biggest like difference or culture shock coming here?
Oh my God. Yeah, everything was strange because you can imagine, I had never, like, of course I was in a boarding school, so, and I always expected my family, to come visit, like, once in a while. But, coming here, lucky for me, I had been to England before, like, I'd gone there to visit, so I learned about, like, using this public transport, like trains or buses, because in Uganda we have, so the difference about our public transportation is that in Uganda we have taxis. Here taxis are, you have to pay a lot of money. It's like a taxi to take you to the airport. But for us, those are like the buses. And we don't use cards to, like a tap card to like enter, So all that, like, I'm like, oh my God. And, sometimes you don't want to look like you don't know what you're doing. So it was scary for me, like to use a bus, like, oh my God, how am I going to go around? But because I was here by myself, I had to learn all that, like using public transport. But I was so blessed because I remember telling my mom, and of course here, everything, you have to pay for everything. And like back home, because back home, like if you can afford to, have your own house, I was living with my mom and my sister, so I had never paid rent, and I moved here, so nothing is free, and that's the big difference about this place. Like here, you have to pay for everything.
Yeah,
you have to pay for everything. So I had to work, like from the time I came here, I had to start working, to, of course, to pay my bills. And and that's a big difference, because back home, if you have your house, the only bill you're going to pay is probably water and electricity. The rest is free because we grow our food. Our food is super healthy because, so basically, Uganda is a country. There's so many farmers, so people always grow like whatever we eat is grown, so people can afford food. So it's super cheap. And like here, you have to buy everything, So here the bills, I was like, oh my God, you have to buy a car and keep paying for it. In Uganda, you can't drive a car on credit.
Oh.
Yep. For us at home, there's nothing like buying stuff on credit.
Wow.
Yep. You either afford a car or you don't.
Uh-huh. Oh,
yep.
Wow. Okay.
So that's another difference.
That is different.
Yeah, we don't have credit cards back home. That's why here people can have anything they want, as long as they can just swipe their credit cards. Yeah, in Uganda, if you want to have a car, you have to come up with all the money to drive it. Yes. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yep.
That's very interesting.
It is.
Wow.
It is. Yeah. So if you
out of debt, though.
Yeah. So those are the differences.
Yeah.
I think that's.
What about them?
Sorry?
Go ahead. Sorry. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. So when I moved here, I realized that everything was about work. You're working to to survive. It wasn't easy. I mean, the first year I moved here, I was just crying. I was literally crying every day. I was like, back home, I mean, everything, like I don't have to worry about, bills to pay. I don't have to worry about rent. But here, I have to work to pay my bills. It was so difficult. And I used to bother, of course, my mom and my sister, to send me some money.
Yeah.
Until, I got used to it. But it made me grow up because I had never been out on my own. Apart from, boarding school, I had friends. But moving here, it made me grow up. It, made me grow up super fast. So that I appreciate.
Yeah, I was going to say, you basically just got off the plane and started adulting, as they call it, you know, there's like 25. Let me see. I left home at like 20, at like 23. And yeah, it's tricky when it's like, oh, nobody's refilling the refrigerator once the food's gone. I gotta buy things like soap and lotion, like things that my mom would probably keep stocked in the house.
And of course, the difference is that here, I think when people get to 18, so you know, you're supposed to leave your parents' houses. Is it? Like when you get to 18, you're supposed to. Is that what it is? So
I think it's by household. It depends on your household. Yeah, because like for me, I finished college and then I left home. So that's why I left in my 20s. But there's other people, they leave when they're teenagers. I think my brother maybe left when he was 16 or 17 from the house. And so I think it just depends on the household and the individual.
Can you imagine? Because for us, it's not, no one rushes you to leave home. You know, of course, some people like their independence. For me, like, I never felt like I was being rushed to leave home because after university, you know, I was comfortable being home. I'm like, whatever. But people feel like they're not, you know, happy being home. They want to have their own independence. And of course, like my twin sister and I were this kind of case that we never, because we grew up, you know, going to church, we were, you know, Christians, so I never went out, you know, clubbing or, you know, drinking and whatever. So for me, and most people want to live home because they just feel like they need their independence. If they have to go out and party, you know, the whole night, then they don't have to go to, you know, they don't have to be answerable to their parents, you know. But for me, we didn't ever do that. Like if we ever went out with friends, we knew we had to come back, you know. So I didn't ever feel rushed to home.
Yeah.
So I come here and I have to start all over again. I have to, you know, I have to buy my own food. I have to pay, you know, rent. I have to pay this. So yeah, that was kind of difficult.
What about currency? Like, what's the currency back home, and how was it getting used to currency here?
So it's the Uganda shilling. So Kenya also has a shilling, and Tanzania has a Tanzanian shilling. So ours is a shilling. So $1 is an equivalent to like 3,575 Uganda shillings. So of course, a dollar is way higher, and of course, the cost of living back home is super low, super cheap. So that's why it's always easier for people to travel back there because the cost of living is really low.
Okay.
But one thing I appreciate about home, like there's some poor people that are super happy, and that's another thing I realized, like when you compare, you know, people back home, you go to places where people are super, like they're poor, they literally can't afford a meal, but they're happy, you know, they're so happy. You won't find someone that's stressed out over finances. And that's the difference. Here, people are always stressed out. It's about work, you know, find it. But there are people poor but happy, you know. Yeah, I only heard about stress when I came here. Like I'd never been stressed. Stress over what?
Wow.
Yep.
Is it because the community is there to support each other more so back home?
So that's the thing. So if someone grows like, you know, food or some crops, they'll go to a neighbor and they're like, oh, this is what I got for my garden. You don't know, let's share this. You know?
That's right.
So that's the beauty about it. Yeah, you can't have, you know, you can't eat, you know, like certain meals when your neighbor's starving. So yeah, people usually share, which is a very good thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I know people do that here, but it's not the culture, like the overarching mindset of it at all. Not. does. It just means there's some people who have taken on that mindset, but it's not common.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. So that's what I do love about like being around you. I feel like I get to pull from some of your culture and like you know, take like, oh wow, I really love that. Like even just like have toothbrushes just ready for people. Like I literally stocked my bathroom with toothbrushes just in case nobody comes in, but just in case.
Just in case someone came and wanted, yeah, I always have that. I know.
Yeah, I love that.
I don't know.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, I got that from him. I always have extra stuff. Like if someone came to visit, you know, I don't have to go. Like I don't have to go to a store to buy something because I have that set. Yeah, like I got that from my mom. Like we always had spare stuff to to give people. And of course, like back home in the community, you literally know what's happening in people's lives, which is sometimes bad. Like people are super nosy. They'll know like whatever is happening. They'll definitely know whatever is going on in people's neighborhoods. And of course, back home, someone doesn't have to call you to let you know they're coming. They'll just come and knock, So people are always welcome.
That terrifies me. That terrifies me. There's so much show up.
I definitely don't appreciate that because, I mean, you give someone a heads up, but so difference.
I remember someone else. I forgot where she's from now. Someone else from our church said that, and I was just thinking like. Wow, I just couldn't imagine someone like knock on my door. I'm like, wait a minute.
I know, right?
Someone clean up my house.
Like, people just invite themselves, and they're like, really? Like, you should have given us a heads up. Like, what if? The good thing is that we always had a lot of food, so even when someone just showed up, there was always enough food to to give people. But that's the difference. People don't call. They just, they believe that you're always home and they're always welcome. Like anytime, like,
I like that a little bit, honestly. Because sometimes I'm like driving past people's house. I'm like, oh, let's go to my friends, but I'm not gonna just pull up. I'm not not.
Yeah. At home, if you're driving around, you'll be like, oh, I was in the neighborhood. I came to say hi. Come on. I find that weird. But after coming here, I prefer someone calls me first before they show up.
Okay, good.
Yeah. I definitely prefer someone calling me first because, I mean, what if you're tired, right? You don't want to talk.
Yeah.
You don't want to talk. You want to be by yourself.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
It's true. My sister just because they come down mean you have to let them in. But it's like okay, so I know we went over a little bit, so I'll go ahead and bring it to a close. And then if you have anything to share, please definitely share the encouragement, something about diversity or whatever's on your heart. But thank you, Susan, for joining me today on Diversity Chats. Thank you, everybody who tuned in today. We appreciate you guys coming into both of our worlds. Me, the African American, and my friend, the African American. African and American. And so please join us on the next episode of Diversity Chats, where we bridge the gap to diversity and destroy ignorance before it destroys another life. And then, Susan, did you have anything else to share?
I'm just glad, LaQuisha, you gave me this opportunity to just talk about, my culture, my country. I'm really proud to be African, and I'm happy to, educate people. And I just advise people that have not been to Africa to at least, take time to, learn more about it. It's a beautiful continent. Africa is a continent. It's so beautiful, and the people there, are super sweet. So, anyone that gets a chance to travel to Africa and visit some countries there, it's fun. I know people. I mean, I've had people tell me that, it's scary going out there. It's not scary. No one, tell you that it's scary going up there. You'll be killed. No, People are super sweet. People are super friendly. And I can assure you, being here in the US, it's not, I mean, there's places that are scary as well. I mean, there's more murders in this country more than my country. So for people to say that it's scary out there, I mean, because people have told that to me to my face. But, so, someone's asking what are some of the places to go for Americans? I would advise someone to go to, like, the central part, like, if it depends on the country you want to go to. Like, for Uganda, go to the central part of Uganda. And from there, people will advise you. And people are super friendly. They would advise you for places to go. Like, I mentioned Queen Elizabeth National Game Park. There are game parks out there that are super good for tourists. And I know people that have gone there, have loved them. But yeah, start from the central part of Uganda, which is Kampala. You'll realize that as you move to different areas, like the western part, the eastern part, you realize that, there's so much, difference between the central part. But if you can start from the central part, and, you get advice from people where to go. But yeah, Uganda is a safe country. Let no one, lie to you that it's super scary, people are killed. Nope, it's super safe. And whoever wants to go on safari, Uganda is a place to go.
Thank you for saying that. Thank you for sharing. And hopefully I'll see you in Israel, because that's where both of us want to
go. Oh my God, yeah, for sure. LaQuisha, yeah, Israel. I'm telling you, I'm saving money. I don't know about you, I'd better save it because we have to go. We have to make that trip to Israel.
I want to go.
So bad. So bad.
Yeah, well, it's good to see you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you,
Alyssa, for your questions.
Thank you for asking.
That's Alyssa from church.
Alyssa, thank you so much. I'm glad you asked that. Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you guys for watching. Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
I love you. I miss you, and let's keep in touch.
Of course, always.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
I'll see you.
See you soon.
Have a good rest of the day.
You too. God bless. Bye.